This video is long overdue. I've had the bike for over 1,000 miles now. Here are some of my thoughts. Hey everyone, sorry for the pause in my uploads. It was a really busy end to the summer, but it's been great. Hope everyone's doing well out there. This video is just going to kind of cover my thoughts of having the bike for over 1,000 miles. The video you're going to see on the left hand side is me riding the bike at about somewhere between 25 and 50 miles of ownership. The video on the right, right around 11 or 1,200 miles on the bike. The left hand side is from November 2023 and the right hand side is from July of 2024. I took the same route on each video. You'll notice a little bit of difference in the camera angle. The left hand side I was still kind of testing out how my GoPro needed to be mounted. Right hand side I've got it pretty figured out. Hopefully in this video you'll see some differences between my riding from when I first got the bike to now. I'm going to try and call out some of the audio so you're not too confused of which screen is making what noises, so that way you can kind of hear. On my first couple rides I had some problems with shifting, a lot of high revs, some false neutrals, stuff like that. There's a part in the right hand side video that I didn't downshift all the way and I got stuck in neutral not realizing it. So yeah, I'll point that out when that pops up. But yeah, I'll try and call out which video you're hearing the audio in so you know what's going on and you're not confused. So one thing you're going to notice right off the bat is the difference in speed, partially because more confidence in riding. I didn't realize that the speedometer reads about 5 miles per hour faster than what I'm actually doing. I didn't realize that until I went through a couple small towns where they had some speed traps and signs set up, and I went through it a couple different times and realized that my speedometer is about 5 miles faster than it was. So yeah, a little bit of confidence for going faster, but also the left-hand side, trying not to do speed too much. Even though in that last right-hand corner on the right-hand side I could cruise through the green light, there were definitely noticeable differences in the shifting. The left side was a little slow to get going, and the first 2 gears were revved pretty high. The left-hand turn coming up on the right side video is where I don't downshift enough and I get caught in neutral. Let's take a listen. Now let's listen in and see how we handle it on the left side. Revs were pretty bouncy on the left hand side. There was probably a moment where I had the RPMs under 1,000 while also revving it above 4,500. It was kind of hard to tell on the right hand side when I was in neutral because of the wind, but I think I handled it pretty well. We'll give the guy on the left a little bit of time to catch up. This turn coming up here on the right is handled a lot better. Almost let out the clutch a little too early and stalled the bike, but the gear shifts were pretty good. This is probably the best turn of the ride for the left side. So now let's go over some of the changes I made to the bike, some things I like about the bike, some things I don't like about the bike, some things I like about riding in general, and some things that I dislike about riding in general. Earlier in the summer I added this Royal Enfield touring windscreen. It's been a really nice addition. It doesn't buff it as much as I thought it would. It sounds a lot worse in the GoPro audio, but that's mainly because the microphone sucks. It took probably maybe the first ride of 10 miles to get used to it. It puts a little bit more wind kind of in my collarbone area, but nothing that I would say is really bothersome. I also added the Royal Enfield Deluxe touring seat. It's a lot more comfy than the stock seat, and that's been a really good addition for some of my longer trips that I've taken this summer. Some of the things that I like about the bike, I like the classic look of it. I like the classic speedometers. There's no technology really built into them. It has 2 analog dials and a trip meter. There's no indicator of what gear you're in, nothing like that. That's part of the reason that I got this bike, was the classic look of it and the simplicity of it. It's pretty easy to maintain. I changed the oil on it myself. I've adjusted the valves on it. That was kind of a pain in the butt, but this is my first motorcycle, first time ever doing the valves. It wasn't too bad looking back on it. In the moment, it kind of sucked, but not too bad. I really like how beginner friendly the bike was. It's a 650cc bike, definitely not too much power for a beginner. You can give it some good throttle and it's not going to just leap out from underneath of you, which is really nice. The clutch, after breaking it in and the first oil change, the clutch is really smooth and really easy to operate. Pretty easy to maneuver for a beginner. The bike weighs, I want to say 440-ish pounds, somewhere in there. I'm about 6 feet tall, so I can stand flat-footed on the bike. The seat height is about 31 inches. By the left-hand side is probably the worst turn of the video. I don't really commit to the stoplight, kind of do a California roll, and almost end up in the turn lane. Yeah, pretty bad turn looking back on it. Not very safe. If there was a car there, if they were hovering the lane, I might have hit them. Definitely something I learned from. Shifting aside, I think I actually take this left-hand turn a little bit better on the left-hand side than on the right-hand side. The right-hand side, I cut it a little tight and kind of catch the corner of that turn lane right there. The left side, I think I make a pretty smooth entry. Some things that I dislike about the bike, with it being a budget-friendly bike, there are some things that they kind of skimp out on or cut corners, if you will. The turn signal indicators, they look nice from afar, but when you're up close to them, they're actually plastic. The chrome on the back is plastic, not metal. Posts that attach the turn signals to the frame of the bike are a little flimsy. Obviously they're durable enough, but if, you know, maybe a big rock or even a bird hit them, they would probably get knocked right off the bike. Same thing with the rear of the bike, the tail light and the tail turn signals housings, all that stuff is all plastic. It looks pretty solid from afar, but once you're up close it's pretty cheap looking. At first it was kind of annoyance, but the speedometer being off by 5 miles was kind of annoying. Once I realized that, I kind of was mindful of my speed and able to gauge how fast I was going. Overall, I really love the bike. I have no regrets with the purchase. Really love the looks, really love the styling. I don't know if I'll change out any of the indicators in the future, just because some of the aftermarket indicators, while they look nice, they don't really fit the classic vibe of the bike, in my opinion. So I'll probably just deal with what I have. That I enjoy just about riding in general. Really just love the freedom that you kind of get when you're out on the bike. When you're out riding, it's just you and the bike. You have the engine pretty much between your legs, the wind blowing against you or with you depending on what way you're going. It's just a really good feeling being out there. What do I not like about riding the bike? Two things come to mind. One, the smells. Most of the time, it doesn't smell too bad. You're out in the country, you get some really nice smells of the fields and stuff like that. But when you pass roadkill and it's in the middle of the summer, absolute awful smelling stuff, way worse than you could ever imagine inside of your car. The other thing I dislike about riding, goes by too fast. I feel like when I'm in my car and I'm driving for 2 hours, it's dragging for 2 hours. When I'm riding for 2 hours on my bike, I feel like it's been a half hour, 45 minutes, and usually by the end of the ride I'm like, man, I can't believe this ride's already over, and I usually want to stay out for longer. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the bike and in riding in general. I've definitely learned a lot in the 1,000 miles I've had the bike. They've been a fun 1,000 miles, that's for sure. Definitely a lot of exploring. Been to a lot of places that I haven't gone before, or maybe I've just passed through some of the smaller towns just on the highway or whatever, but it's definitely been a really good summer, good adventures, and yeah. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch all the videos that I've done so far. Again, I apologize, it's been a little bit of time since I put the last one out. I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch, and as always, enjoy the ride.